My name is Margaret Ann Windsor, and I was kidnapped in 41 at age 2 and brought to Moulton, Alabama. And I was given the name of a twin. Both twins, I found out in 83, were murdered by their mother, Lina. They were born out of wedlock, Lina Dempsey. So I grew up in that family, and she was later diagnosed by a doctor, Lina was, as a psychopath. So you can imagine just a part of the life I led. I found out in 83 about my kidnapping, who my real parents are, and I was flown out to Larry Flynt's. I showed this because everybody knows who Larry Flynt is. He was shot in Lawrenceville, Georgia, and I thought I had this the best I could. It's really gotten old now, the copy. But he was shot, and he flew me out there to his home, which was on St. Cloud in Bel Air back then. Excuse me, but I'm not feeling good. That's the reason I'm putting this up. Uh, I have been documenting, well, really before 4 years ago, I got the video of the camera, the phone, to upload the videos because the law doesn't work for me. The law is a part of this. I can't get an attorney, etc. It's who I am. And if I should ever get to go home, live to go home and tell this horror story that the press has suppressed and lied about. I want to show you I'm just going to show you Carl. Both twins were killed by their mom. They stole my identity and gave me the name of Peggy, who was dead. I'm going to go ahead and tell you how she died, because after I found out my real name, I could remember specifically James Matthew Dempsey. He was the only male in that family. I believe there's 7 females and 1 male, or 6 females and 1 male. He was always in the U.S. Army. I remember him coming in, and I remember it was night, and I was in the other room to get away from him, Lina and her mother, and the cover-up they did, because she would have faced gas chamber in Alabama had the murder of her twins been told. She fed them to the pit. She didn't feed him. They just didn't do an autopsy, which I'm going to show you. No doctor ever saw him. No, nothing. It was winter supposedly, and they just boxed him up and buried him. And there he stays as far as I know. Peggy was fed to the pigs, plain and simple. Matthew came in one night. It was only after I found out about my real name and I looked back and I started remembering, and that's 1983. I was kidnapped in 41, age 2. So that triggered me remembering that, because what happened to Peggy, the real Peggy, okay? Now, this is just the birth certificate. When I have to use this birth certificate. When I got it from Montgomery, Alabama, state Alabama, the birth dates were wrong that they had given me, that I'd grown up using when they put me here. It didn't jive with the twins. So I'm just going to show you where they've marked through, okay? Which is illegal, by the way. Everything done to me is illegal. Now, I want to get to, real quick, I'm just going to show this. This is my father, Edward VIII, and it was a forced abdication, illegal. This is the imposter, the double. They married Wallace Simpson. It was a takedown of a monarch. And this is him, another look-alike, but it's claiming to be my dad, and married Wallace Simpson. It's a double. Now, My dad was married to Claudia Ruth O'Keefe, sister to artist Georgia O'Keefe. So my dad never had it. He had nothing to do with Wallace Simpson. It was all such a takedown. Nowadays, the United States goes over to take down Saddam Hussein or Assad of Syria or you name it, and Bin Laden, and you have to make somebody bad to justify you going in and stealing everything they have and killing everybody. Look at the slaughterhouse over there. And now they run in, and this is the United States that's behind it, and the New World Order that kidnapped me, the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Bilderbergers. Okay, they've gone over there and they've used Great Britain as a hostage because they have me. I'm the legal monarch. My father went through channels and had an addendum, which is legal, and it states that if my father has an heir, it will not disinherit the heir. So I'm Victoria II. The day I was born, I was the monarch, legal monarch. My father would have come back as power of attorney, as guardian. So therefore his own brother, George VI, helped in my kidnapping. Joe Kennedy was ambassador sent there by Roosevelt. This is in 1939, the year I was born. They're planning my kidnapping. Now, I want to go from that. I guess I showed Hustler because Larry Flint, I think I did, was shot in Lawrenceville, and he did an editorial when I was flown out there in 83, and this was in 84. But I wanted to get to what's happening to me. I came up here to Roanoke, and I have had everything done to me. Antifreeze put in me, should have died, April Fool, because this is an April Fool joke to them. Your press is controlled by the Rockefellers, Rothschilds. Hillary's a part of it. Elizabeth, the illegal Elizabeth II, who's sitting in my homes when I'm made a pauper and under threat of, if I mention who I really am, of being handcuffed and hauled off. And if I continue to tell the truth, I'm supposed to take this abuse and to hell with me. Okay, I want to get this part in. Again, I'm allergic to chemicals. I have chronicled this and put it up as to show what's being done to me. I can't get an attorney. And what's happened is I had a letter from the FBI, June the 23rd, 79, when I was trying to get the book published on mind control murders, and the doctor, Congressman Larry McDonald, was a part of that book. And later, I'm flown out to Flint's when the plane he's on is taken down, so follow me there. I've put it all up, Facebook, YouTube, etc. over the years, and I have one YouTube that was, my whole phone was stolen on the day before Easter this year, the end of March, by someone I thought was a friend. I want you to listen to her name, because I found out later she lives right across from the Appalachian Trail, the old one, where I used to crawl and walk through the ice and snow and crawl up to the shelter and get run for me at the hiker shelter to have a place to be, and I froze and starved. She was put there, and that's all I'm going to say. I didn't know that she lived on Mountain Pass Road, about half a mile from the entrance to the Appalachian Trail where I went so many times. She has this beautiful home, and it was furnished to her, and people hate you for telling the truth. It was. She was put there about 4 to 5 years ago, her and her family. Beautiful home across from the forest, the trail. And I met her a little over a year ago. Now, I didn't know her name. I've been telling about murders that were done in patterns, mind control murders, plus telling about who I am and all that. And Larry Flint and his attorney was killed. That's one of them. At the murders, it's a whole list. But anyway, I went to, ended up the first of this year. I didn't know her name, last name. I just thought it was Angela. And by the way, you can Google her address and everything, or you could, unless she's, well, I guess you can still Google it. So I'm not telling anything that I shouldn't. It's the truth. I went to her home, and she's got two younger daughters. Her son is in school in Liberty University. By the way, they stole one phone of mine and destroyed it, literally. Now then, when she supposedly befriended me, and now then, day before Easter this year, under the guise of being nice and bringing me an Easter lily and a chocolate bar, she got a hold of my phone and she took out and I only recently got this phone. I'm still not able to gain access to my main YouTube, so I'm just putting this up. So I'm going to leave it there. She did this to me. Here's her name, and remember it. This is done at such a high level. Remember, I've been telling everybody that I'm Margaret Ann Windsor, Victoria II, heir to the British Crown. And that's true, Queen Victoria II, the day I was born. Now, I go out to her home the first of this year, and I find out that her last name's Queen. She lives right down on Mountain Pass Road, Troutville, where I used to crawl up the side of the mountain and try to camp, to have a place to be and starve and freeze and no water and walk for miles and carry 2 jugs of water on my back just to have some water. Or put it where the mosquitoes were, around one little thing coming out, a little drip coming out the side of the mountain. Sit there, hope a snake didn't bite you, where you could get the water if you could shoo the mosquitoes away and boil it and hopefully have. Okay, so this doesn't even touch the life they've given me here. Took me from mine and give me, and took my children. God knows, I hope they're alive. Now, Queen, I found out her first name's Angela, last name's Queen. So then I found out that her daughters were adopted. She's got an older son, computer school and degree, getting it, she told me, at Liberty University, Falwell, Jerry Falwell. That's where, by the way, that Larry Flint, when I was out there, showed me the parody that was going to be published. And I didn't know why at the time he did that. It was about Jerry Falwell. And so, actually, Larry Flint showed up here because he was hauled into court by Jerry Falwell and Liberty University for the parody. And I was living up on the Appalachian Trail, starving and freezing. Well, with what people say, I lay all this out. I always have. They don't not believe me, they do. But they'll try to find the negative and discredit me and leave me answering to them. Well, if Larry Flint's up there, he's being sued by Falwell right here in Roanoke. Whoever Flint, well, the FBI have been, some of them have run his Hustler magazine. Well, when they run it, they've called me from there years ago. But anyway, they will say, well, why didn't Mr. Flint help you? And they'll dismiss it because they don't give a damn about me. So this is the way it's all been carried out. Okay, Mr. Flint, that was overturned when it went before the Supreme Court, freedom of speech, in the favor of Larry Flint. So I'm going to leave it there. I haven't seen Mr. Flint since. And I'm jumping around, I suppose, so I want to tell what's happened to me. And I can't because this one's going to go off. I have an immune disorder, and I'm just about at the end of my rope, okay, other than being 77 years old.